Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome to the Blue Planet Show with the 25th edition of the Molokai to Oahu crossing. Here we have competitor Robert Stehlik. He can introduce himself.
Yeah, Robert Stehlik, and super stoked to do the Molokai crossing twice in 2 weekends. Last weekend we did it on wingfoil boards, and Derek and I were chasing each other at the end, coming into Waikiki. That was pretty cool. And then today I did it on a stand-up paddleboard, 14-foot stock board, and it was actually really tough. I thought the conditions were actually really difficult, really challenging. But I'm stoked. I finished first place in the stock division, so third overall stand-up. Of course, I'm super stoked. I've never had this before. To get the first place finisher in the division. But it's also part of the reason is that there's not that many pros or like top level guys competing. So. That's kind of interesting. I started doing the Molokai race in 2009 was the first time I did it. And back then there was only a handful of stand-up paddlers doing it. And then it grew kind of like crazy.
Oh, you saw the wave then, how it got bigger, and then it's starting to go back down.
Yeah, now it's kind of smaller again.
Yeah.
So for a while the stand-up division was way bigger than the prone foil division, but it seems like prone foiling is making a major comeback. Yeah, it seems like
the prone paddling.
Yeah, way more prone paddlers again, and really competitive too. Like there's people coming from New Zealand, Australia, and they take it very seriously there. For them, it's like a team sport. They start very young at school. Train on the surf rescue boards, and so that's cool to see that.
Yeah. I think there's clubs in Australia and down south that they just groom them from a young age.
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
Yeah.
How was the conditions? So the conditions at the start, when you guys, what time did you guys start this morning?
So we started at 8 a.m., which was a lot earlier than last weekend. The foil start was at 11, right?
11, yes.
So it was a lot earlier, but so it was a little bit tighter. Between getting up, getting the timer, having the pulley, getting the board from the boat, and getting everything on the boat, and then closing up Eli's place and stuff like that. Was definitely, I was like the last paddler off the beach.
Oh, wow.
But I still had plenty of time to get to the start.
Yeah,
they were calling me, whose red board is still on the beach?
Oh, yeah.
What's going on?
Classic. Classic. And then you guys, did you guys start on the beach at Kaluakoi, or did you guys head outside like how they did with the foil edition?
So the foil edition, we started all the way at Ilio Point, like at the almost like mile upwind. This start was just in the next bay over, so it was really close.
Bucket Horse,
really close to the Kaluakoi.
Oh, okay. Oh, right on. Good. And in the beginning, it was just a grind to get out into the wind line and catch bumps and then start going.
So this year the start was everybody started together. The prone paddlers, the stand-up paddlers. That was the first time. Usually they started the stand-up paddlers separately.
Right.
And then last year we had like wing foiling, stand-up foiling, prone paddling, stand-up paddling. Everybody had a separate start. This year everyone was starting together. So that was kind of cool actually, because then it was like a little bit denser field, and I always saw other people in front of me. So that made it a little bit more interesting to have other people to chase around. But the start was pretty flat water.
Yeah.
There was the one Brazilian guy, stand-up paddler on the unlimited board. He just took off and got way ahead of everybody. And I was like, okay, I'll see you later. So I thought he would finish like an hour ahead of me or something like that, but he was only,
it was a few,
He was not
watching
that far ahead of me, I guess.
Watching the tracker, you guys were kind of competitive. That one guy from, I think it was Spain or maybe, Itzel, he took off. He was like gone, Yeah, but you guys...
the other Brazilian guy.
Yeah, the other Brazilian guy, Rosa, I believe. He was. You guys were competing back to back, and then I was looking and wondering what board he was on, but he was on an unlimited stand-up board. So that's a lot bigger and has a rudder control, right? So easier to control, easier to paddle.
Yeah, so he passed me like after a few miles, and then I kind of kept catching up to him, and we were kind of neck and neck for a while, and then he just had a better board speed, and I kind of just let him go. I didn't want to chase him and burn myself out, like trying to keep up with him on a 14-foot board, which I think it was a good move because he was actually he was probably like 5 or 10 minutes ahead of me at Port Log.
In the bay, when you guys came into the bay, right?
And then I went on the inside route, so I went along the wall, along the wall where there's a wind shadow. So, and I saw him like in the middle of the bay, like just struggling against the paddling against the wind, and I made pretty good progress. It's a longer distance, but to me, it's when it's on a windy day, it's always faster to stay in the wind shadow.
Definitely.
And then my training partners, Jimmy Martindale and Roland, did the same thing, and they did pretty well too. So
it looked like there was a longer distance, more like a pronounced, and they were straight. And you figure a straight line, right? You always get best, but you see, you guys just kind of pulled ahead and stuff like that. When the other guys kind of like if it was looking at the tracker, I'm sure you're gonna look at the dot vision tracker. And your guys were steady 5, 4, and theirs kind of at some points it was going backwards almost, like 2 miles an hour.
Barely moving.
Which was like the wind, the headwinds, and stuff like that. I think maybe they might have got little benefits from the boats. And that might have been better, but definitely you guys had a good line.
Yeah, and sometimes when there's a good swell, sometimes you can catch waves coming in too. So, but there was really not much waves today, and then so I think staying in the wind shadow is definitely an advantage, especially when you're tired already, and then you have to fight headwind. It's like that's the worst.
Yeah.
So to me, like that's always the fun part coming in. It's like home stretch, and I know I can do it.
Right. So your time and your distance, do you know what you actually?
Outside Black Pine, I kept falling in, or outside Portlock, I kept falling in, and somehow I must have turned off my GPS, so I lost my time. But the start was at 8, and I finished before 2 o'clock, so it's less than 6 hours. I'm not sure what my finish time is yet, but I trust that they got it. So.
They had it.
I don't have my own finish time, unfortunately, but my record time on a 14-foot board was 5:29, so it's definitely not a record time for me. But I'll take it,
Yeah, exactly. It looks like you did 31.8 miles.
It really depends on the channel. Like some years the channel is fast, the currents are good, you make it across quickly, and other years it's just not cooperating. And this year was definitely a tough race where I don't think anybody has set any records this year. I'd be surprised. But I saw Jamie Mitchell was pro paddling. I saw him at the start this morning, and I don't think he was kind of semi-retired for a while. Because he won this race like I don't even know, like at least 10 times in a row or something like that.
Right.
More than that, probably. Yeah. So he's like almost like the Kelly Slater of paddleboarding. But then he kind of semi-retired, but it looks like he's back. So it'd be interesting to get. Maybe I can get an interview with him too.
Yeah, I saw that he was on some escort boat, and he was actually showcasing the paddlers.
Oh, so he was on an escort boat. Oh, okay. He was doing he is retired. Feed. I thought he would be paddling, making a comeback, but
looking at the stats on the My Dot Vision, it looked like he did 31.8 miles, and your finish time was 5 hours 55 minutes and 38 seconds.
5:52.
5:50, 5:55.
That's pretty good. Actually, less than 32 miles. I don't know if I've ever done it in that low.
Yeah. And what was your record your time before your best? Personal best?
5:29.
Oh, okay. So just a little bit more.
In 2019 I did.
Well, last week was your personal best, right? What was that? 2 hours, 18 minutes
2
or something?
hours, 18 minutes. Yeah. Well, the year before it was under 2 hours when we finished here, right?
Yeah, when we came in here,
on a wingboard, So it's kind of crazy to think that, to do it in 2 hours versus 5 hours, 6 hours, almost 6 hours. So when we're winging, it's like 3 times the speed, It's like fast forwarding through the race.
Right, But, and then you was on what kind of equipment did you have? Like your board and your paddles and stuff like that, and water packs. So
I had a 14-foot bump rider, which is 28 inches wide, which was definitely a good board for today. It was like, I think part of why I won the 14-foot division is because I had it's a good board, you know.
Nice.
It's a little bit wider, more stable.
Yeah.
I know Roland, my training partner, was always faster than me in training, and I was just like, if I can beat Roland, I'm happy, you know. So I didn't really think I would win this whole thing, but I was just trying to be faster than Roland. But he had a narrower board, so I'm sure he was struggling a lot with the balancing today.
Right.
And then, just that board has a little bit of rocker. It just
perfect.
fits well in the bumps and surfs well. And then I got my Kaizen V3 paddle, which is an awesome paddle. It works really well.
Okay. Also, it's not too wide. It's perfect, nice, so you can just dig in. Not a lot of strain on your shoulders and everything else.
And it's got the kind of a Y-shaped blade.
But longer blade,
and it's not super long too. Like some people use like really long paddles. I like mine. It's just like maybe a fist over my head. So not super long, but it just helps with balancing too if the paddle's not too long.
Okay, perfect. Now,
and then for wing foiling,
different.
What did you use for wing foiling last weekend?
I used a 6 meter Superfly wing.
Yeah,
that was pretty good. Yeah, a lot of power and stuff. I mean, there was enough power for the amount of wind that we had in certain areas. You know. Yeah. That dead zone, you just had to.
Would you have used a 7 meter if you knew? Were you thinking that it would have been better, or?
I think the 7 meter, because of my height, it would have been more restricted because of the, they would be touching and making me fall in. So maybe if there was a 7 meter but more narrow but long, I don't know, you know. It kind of depends. But that could be an option, you know. It would definitely need to be practiced a lot before I just grab it and go, you know.
Yeah.
But definitely.
And then
or maybe a 6'5". A 6'5" would probably be
maybe we can make you a wing that works for you better. Because like you said, if you can't bring the wing down vertical, then because it keeps touching, then that's not good. And you don't use the whole wing.
I look at sailboats, and the most efficient is the ones that's straight up and down, and they're pulling in, right?
Yeah.
So maybe something like
America's
that.
Cup, right?
Exactly.
And you said you had a new gold foil that you hadn't really tried or practiced on, so that was kind of felt a bit weird.
Yeah. I met up with Alex. He's like, hey, try to take this and stuff like that. And I was fast. I could see him, when he was riding and stuff. But I just wasn't used to that size, the wing, and then the tail. The tail was a little bit longer, so it was just one of those. You kind of learn, right? So not too bad. For this race here, how was your endurance? Any cramping, any kind of areas of concern on your body aches or whatever? And also, what about your type of nutrition? Water, hydration, nutrition. What did you bring along? And did the boat escort give you any kind of, just hand off stuff to you as you was completing this 32 miles?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So that's super important, actually, the nutrition, and because you can't really go. You can go 2 hours without having food, and we take water, but I barely drank water actually during the race. It was like drank a bunch before the start, and then maybe take a few sips along the way. But you can go 2 hours without drinking much, but 5 hours is like impossible. And if you don't refuel calories and liquids, you're not going to finish it.
You're going to lock up. Your body's not going to agree.
You're going to cramp up and stuff like that. So I had 2 water bags, and I have these bladders that have 2 compartments. So I have one where I mix in this stuff called Tailwind, which is it has electrolytes and sugars, calories. So it's like it's like a nutrition mix. So that's one half of the bladder, and the other half I just have regular water. Sometimes, especially if I'm eating something, I want to just drink water. I don't want something in the water. So
need all the flavor.
And that worked out really well. So, and then I have pickle juice shots, these little bottles that have this really salty pickle juice with vinegar and salt. And when I was kind of starting to feel my triceps kind of cramping up a little bit, so I just took a pickle juice shot, and that helps me a lot because I've had some Molokai races where I was totally cramping up. My abs were cramping, my arms, my forearms, where my fingers were just like this, and I had to push them back open. I've had really bad cramping before, but today the pickle juice worked for me that kind of makes it go away, and then just having a lot of salt and electrolytes. That's important.
Right.
And then,
so you never had any before. You never had the pickle juice. Like nobody really used that before. But pickle juice was always around, right?
I mean,
it's crazy how.
And pickle, and it's kind of like a pretty common remedy. When I was studying it, like I just looked up online and like what do people do with like cramp and stuff. And pickle juice is one of those things. Like when people cramp at night, they drink pickle juice and it goes away. So, and then so I tried it and it seems to work pretty well. So
awesome.
I don't know exactly what it is. I think part of it is the salt but part of it is the vinegar too, like that bitterness. For some, it kind of shocks your body into stopping the cramping, I guess.
Right. And you just follow it up with some water and wash it down and you're good.
Yeah, and then for nutrition, I got these squeezed baby food squeeze things from Whole Foods, like organic baby food, and that was actually the best ones. I also had like gels and some shot blocks type thing, but next year I think I'm only gonna take those baby food things, like juice squeeze baby, because they got like 70, 80 calories, and you just squeeze it in your mouth and it goes down easy and digests quickly. So that
you look at
good.
the nutrition and stuff on those packages and stuff, and it's not bad because it's for children, right? Infants and stuff. So you're going, this got to be good.
I mean, there's some preservatives in there, but I mean, you don't want something that you have to refrigerate, right?
Nothing crazy.
So that was good.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I don't know if I would do anything else different. Like in years past, I had poi. Like I used poi in the little squeeze bottles. That actually works really well too because it's not too sugary, and it gives you the calories and digests easily. And then sometimes I would mix salt into the poi. But then this year at Whole Foods, when I went to Whole Foods on Saturday, they didn't have poi. So so I bought the baby food, and actually the baby food worked out really well. So anything else? I think
that's
we covered
it.
a lot.
So congratulations. So to your knowledge, you are the only participant that did last week's foil division as well as this week's stand-up paddle division. I would say like manually. How does that feel, or you know of anybody else that did it? You know,
I don't know. They told me when I signed up, there was one other person that signed up for both. I'm not sure though who it is or how they finished But because this morning they told me, I think you're the only one who did both races. So, and I thought it would be more people like that. Now that they split it between foiling and regular stand-up paddling and prone paddling, there would be some guys that would want to do both. You know, because there's some guys like James Casey who's won this race before. And he's a really good stand-up foiler too, but I guess it's like a big time and money commitment too to come here and spend more time. Kai Lenny.
A lot of those guys.
I mean, there would be a lot of guys that would be way more competitive than I am, but it seems like they're all really focused on the foiling now.
Everything else,
And stand-up paddling is kind of playing second fiddle now I mean, it's just kind of it's crazy how it's become really kind of a small sport again. Lost a lot of participants.
Right.
But I think it's still really fun, you know, and like training for stand-up paddling is way more demanding. Like I did a lot of the long paddles, and that endurance training also helped me with winging, you know, like because when you wing, even if you go on the waves for 2 hours, it's not as
taxing on your body and your mind and everything.
Like it's not like training on a stand-up paddleboard for 4 or 5 hours. It's different, you know? Right. So I felt like that the conditioning was really good also for my wing foiling. Kept my focus and.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on finishing on both sides. Doing great. Awesome, man.
And thanks, Lucas, for getting some drone footage too. Aloha. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.